Action.
Hi, I'm... Hey.
Hey!
Right. La la la. Hi, I'm AIDAN Doherty.
I'm Gus Emmett.
And I'm George Martins.
And we are the WarmUp Residents.
Home is where the house is.
How did we meet, the three of us?
George, how did you meet Aidan?
On SoundCloud.
Yeah? George, you got to divulge, mate.
I can't remember if I messaged Aidan or Aidan messaged me, and he told me that he was glad to find someone with the same music taste. Then I went over to this club where he was throwing a party, which is now the Shelter. That's where I met Aidan personally, and we arranged a gig with Apple Skal in Hackney, which was the first international for WarmUp and my first gig for WarmUp too.
You said to me, right, that's it, you're one of my residents now.
I still
No
remember
messing
him
about.
posting on Facebook, I'm now WarmUp resident,
Yeah.
you know.
And that's exactly what I needed at the time, because in Portsmouth at the time there was no scene. And that's why I was reaching out to people beyond that, because I was struggling, because I had this music and I had this vision of what I wanted to do, but no one in Portsmouth could relate to what I was doing.
Well, it's funny because back in that time when you messaged Aidan, there was still not a melodic techno
Well,
scene.
we were the only brand doing it in London at that time, weren't we?
I love this
Even in
type of
London.
sound, but I didn't have a specific promoter which I would go to, you know.
I was kind of out there on my own before I met you, building the sound of WarmUp, and then you guys came in and you really refined it and brought your elements to it to build this whole body of sound. What was I going to say? La 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 la. No, I'm really proud that we constantly keep raising the bar every month. It takes a lot of behind the scenes work to be able to deliver fresh, cutting edge, current sets that represent the best in electronic dance music every month. So yeah, I would just like to say, fuck you. How did you get into DJing? Why did you get into DJing?
So I got into DJing when I was about 15, 16. I started buying records from a local record store in Portsmouth.
Vinyl.
Vinyl, yeah, back in the day it was vinyl. It's very much on the trance tip, and I got a fake ID. And I went to a club called Slinky's in Bournemouth, which was very much trance-based, which was like Tiesto, Mario Picotto, all this stuff. And I fell in love with dance music, and I wanted to collect music. Yeah. And the reason why I got into DJing is because I had all this music, and I wanted to share it with people. Yeah. And that's all it was at the time. That's all it was.
That's great.
Great.
How did you get into DJing, George?
Well, how did I get into DJing? So all those years that I developed my taste for music, for electronic music before WarmUp, I was spent in the studio, so I started off as a producer. I learned how to mix, but I never had aspirations to be a DJ. I never saw myself as being a DJ. You know, I had aspirations of being a producer, perhaps playing live in the future. But then I started this radio show where Aidan came along as well, if I'm not mistaken, at the time, and I purely started DJing because I was afraid that the computer would crash and I wouldn't be able to deliver the same quality show. So I got dragged into DJing, and I changed my focus to DJing completely, and that's what brought me here today.
Well, my sole reason I got into DJing comes down to my cousin James. I was collecting electronic music for years, and he literally sent me a link one day to Virtual DJ, which was like a very bog standard online mixing program. He said, oh, you know, you collect all this music, why don't you stick 12 tracks together and put them in the mix? And I was like, all right, what are you on about? I can't do that, I'm not a DJ. He went, don't worry, you just have to crossfade. So I downloaded it, stuck 12 tracks together, blended them all together, listened back, and was instantly hooked, because I'd put together a body of music and turned it into a whole thing, and it really excited me. You know, you have individual tracks that you like, but then when you start putting them all together to form one whole thing, it's a whole different thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So thank you, James. You sent me that crappy program and it got me hooked.
Hey!
Fucker. So, how would you actually describe your sound as a DJ?
It's melodic, but it's very left field sometimes, but I don't know what I want to play until the night. And it's exciting for me as a DJ because I've got all these tracks that are just sat there ready to go, and I'm like, well, I don't know what I'm really going to do, but...
For me, your sound, you said it, is definitely left field, house based.
Yeah.
There's always the curveballs that you throw out. You know, you're quite confident with these more freaky kind of sounds, a little bit more kind of ethnic orientated, a bit tribally.
Yeah.
Cool.
Being on the road, like going to places like Amsterdam and Berlin, these places have really shaped my sound in terms of DJs that I've seen.
Yeah.
And, you know, like I've taken inspiration from that, and then that's where I am now as a DJ.
On the road with Gus.
On the road with Gus.
So yes, in my case, just like Gus, I was inspired by moments I experienced before I became a DJ. For example, in Boom Festival, I experienced a lot of euphoria moments where a large number of people were, you know, actually engaged on that moment at the same level. And that shaped also the sound that I play today. So very euphoric, sustained by grooves. I love playing with grooves, as many people
George
know.
the Groove Martins.
You know, I really like it, but obviously spicing it with a bit of, you know, I like introspective and cinematic sounds mixed with grooves and a bit of classical, but also sophisticated and soulful.
How do I describe my sound?
How do you describe it?
Obviously, everyone knows I love my melodies. I really like the emotive sound, but I'm really interested in that interesting area between progressive and techno. I've recently found myself playing a bit more punchy, a little bit darker, and faster paced. But yeah, I've always been drawn to the melancholic sounds and the very emotional, deep sounds of electronica. Obviously, hearing Dominic Gilberg playing at Crucifix Lane in 2013 was the catalyst of me like wanting to be able to control people on the dance floor emotionally. After seeing him doing it so well, I was hooked, and yeah, it's the search for the emotional release through music, which comes down to mainly the melody. So yeah, I'm a melody man.
Wait till your pizzas arrive.
This is where the music is.
Hey, we're on camera.
Right. Okay.
La 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 la. So we've been playing together for quite a few years now. Do you think your own sound has changed and developed in the past few years?
But yeah, for me, like dance music has always been about evolution.
Yeah.
Right. That's what keeps me excited about listening to dance music. Nowadays, I'm just constantly on the exploration of like what's next, what's new, and that defines my sound. You know, that's what it's all about for me.
I think you touched on an interesting subject, new mixing patterns, new rhythms. For me, the way I select different genres of music and put them together, I would say I feel like I'm more confident mixing an electronica track into a techno track using a creative transition. Yeah. You know, I don't want to lock myself into being a progressive DJ or a techno DJ. So I think all of us, in fact, are being a bit more brave in bringing different styles of electronic music together, rather than just playing a progressive sound, playing a techno sound So yeah,
And trying it live.
being more
Yeah.
creative with genres, I think would summarise all of us in
And that's
terms
the
of how
beauty
we've
of being a
grown.
resident for like an amazing brand, because we can take the risks. You know, we are in a really fortunate position where we're playing all the time, and it's such a good opportunity for us to go, do you know what, I'm going to play that crazy track there, or I'm going to go for it, and I'm really going to just express myself, I'm going to take a risk.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of being a resident DJ at a brand like WarmUp, because we can do that.
I think what we've achieved with WarmUp is a real sense of DJ and crowd connectivity.
Yeah.
It's essentially become one thing. We are connected to the crowd, we form this one body of energy. What does it feel like to you guys when you're up there playing to this really clued up, passionate crowd of people?
That's what keeps us doing what we do, you know?
Totally.
Totally, you know, because it's an amazing group of people that we play on a regular basis. They are so dedicated to what we do and are willing to accept the risks we take and accept new sounds and not be attached to a formula that can be very common these days. The more they know you as a person, the more they understand what you do as an artist, or the approach, or the risks you take.
It helps us even play better because we feel like they're with us. People are so loyal to what we're doing. It's overwhelming, and
it is overwhelming.
It gives us more confidence to just keep pushing the boundaries.
I want everyone to know that when I'm DJing, I am very much a part of the party.
Yeah.
I am having as much fun as everyone else on the dance floor. I forget sometimes I'm even DJing. I really do, honestly. I'm just so in the party and so in the moment that it's literally like it's all one thing.
Yeah.
Enjoying myself.
We're not just there to play music,
No,
are we?
exactly.
We're there to connect with everyone.
Exactly, but I'm having a great time too. Yeah. I am enjoying the party, even though I'm playing. It doesn't matter. Like, I'm enjoying that moment with the crowd as a clubber as well as a DJ.
Well, we know that.
Yes.
Your turn first. Yeah. It's your question, George.
Right. So. You'll find the right one. How's your parents? You're good at Fuck!
Let's have a little chat about what the current state of the club scene is in London. What are your thoughts and feelings on that?
There's been a definite shift in terms of, like, you know, the bigger shows at bigger venues that are like very line-up orientated. And I feel that there's kind of like, you know, people are a bit done with that. And they're looking to more community-based brands, slightly smaller, slightly more, you know, inclusive events. And I think that obviously what we do is very much on the inclusive, smaller brand spectrum. And I think that people are searching to that. And I feel that, you know, London as a whole is shifting towards smaller brands and smaller parties and just, you know, just more special events.
I think to put it on the table, London is absolutely thriving right now. It's very clear that smaller brands are forming communities around their brands.
And their own niches.
Yeah, they're nurturing residents. People are taking it down a notch. You know, they're doing smaller nights with smaller numbers, but you know, the unique community bond between people is becoming really strong.
So we're 6 years in. Obviously, WarmUp's going from strength to strength each month in, month out.
What's the future?
What's the future looking like?
Oh, you're looking at me. We're doing a festival, of course.
Are we?
We're doing a festival
When's
next
the date?
month.
When are we doing it?
21st to the 23rd of August
There
next
you go.
summer.
Lock it in.
Yeah, we're evolving into a festival, but that doesn't mean we're changing. We're still going to operate in London, doing our incredible club shows at venues like the Steelyard Mix. And of course, we're going to continue with our underground event series. That would never change. But yeah, it's really exciting that we've expanded to an event that lasts over the weekend in a pine forest. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to being able to curate a really strong lineup as well.
Yeah.
Because in London, it's become really hard to actually pull together artists that you're really keen on because of the competition. Cheers for the journey so far.
And we hope to keep delivering.
Let's keep pushing, let's keep striving for the best sets possible, let's keep pushing ourselves and supporting each other. And as we move forward and expand the brand, look towards the festival, continue with the club nights.
WarmUp Festival.
See you on the dance floor.
And this is our story.
You recorded it? Oh, fuck.
We're all just shit-faced at the end here now.